My eyes were glued to the glowing screen of my phone, the lengthy, heartfelt message I'd poured my soul into for Sienna Thorne still shimmering in our chat. A long moment stretched, filled with the dull hum of my apartment and the frantic beating of my own heart, before her reply finally appeared. "I've received your feelings, thank you. I'll definitely treat you to dinner when I'm free." I stared at the words, a strange sense of bewilderment creeping in. I couldn't understand. My final sentence had been a direct, vulnerable question. "Sienna, what are your true feelings for me?" Why had she responded with such a dismissive, non-committal reply? And even more perplexing, why was I so fixated on her? The entertainment industry was a galaxy of dazzling stars, overflowing with people far more talented and beautiful than Sienna. Why this singular, unyielding obsession? As these unbidden, rebellious thoughts flickered through my mind, a searing headache erupted, a violent pressure behind my eyes as if an invisible force was desperately trying to stop me from thinking such things. My hands, seemingly no longer under my control, typed a curt "okay" on the keyboard. The instant the message sent, the agonizing headache vanished, leaving my body weak and drained. I tried to stand and get a glass of water, but a dizzy spell, perhaps an after-effect of the bizarre headache, made my legs buckle. My forehead collided with the sharp edge of the bedside table. A blinding flash, then a torrent of memories, or more accurately, plot points, forcibly jammed themselves into my brain. I wasn't just Alex, a struggling actor with a crush. I was a mere supporting character, a spare-tire male lead in a saccharine romance novel set in the glittering world of entertainment. My rival, the true male lead, was the esteemed and impossibly charismatic actor, Zenith King. My designated role in this twisted narrative was that of a gentle, doting stalker, utterly devoted to Sienna Thorne, bending to her every whim. The story outlined my tragic downfall. Consumed by unrequited love, I would spiral into madness, adopting the warped mantra of, "If we can't be together in life, we'll be together in death." This obsession would lead me to kidnap Sienna. Of course, Zenith King would arrive just in time, heroically rescuing her, while I would face utter ruin, ultimately meeting a gruesome end in an abandoned factory, my heart pierced by Zenith's subordinates. After my dramatic, villainous act, the main couple would finally, irrevocably unite. My jaw dropped. So, I was just a pathetic plot device, a sacrificial lamb whose purpose was to push the main characters together before dying a miserable, violent death. I scrambled off the floor, my previously chaotic brain suddenly crystal clear. Damn it, my ending is that tragic. I lunged for my phone, my fingers flying across the screen. Block. Delete. Sienna Thorne. I wasn't going to be a stalker anymore. If I just stayed far, far away from those two, I could probably save my own life. I remembered the novel's description of me constantly tagging Sienna on social media, writing her endless, simpering posts, even though she never once replied. I was a public joke, the internet's favorite clown. OMG, are you kidding me? Alex is still stalking Sienna? She never even replies to him. What's wrong with him, lol? Alex's fans must be going through it right now. I felt a surge of indignation. I frantically opened my social media and began deleting. I wouldn't bother with Sienna Thorne anymore. Reading those cringeworthy posts made even me sick. My delete button was practically sparking with overuse. Over 700 love letters vanished before my eyes with visible speed. Finally, as dawn began to break, my eyes were heavy with sleep. After my trembling finger hit delete on the last post, I typed a new status update: "Get lost. Don't come near me." Then, truly unable to stay awake any longer, I dropped my phone and collapsed into bed, instantly falling into a deep sleep. I was rudely awakened at midday by an insistent hammering on my door and the frantic shouts of my manager, Mark. "Alex, don't tell me you've done something stupid. Alex, you're not actually dead in there, are you?" Disoriented, I stumbled out of bed and opened the door. Mark, a towering figure nearly 6 feet tall, immediately barreled into me, enveloping me in a suffocating hug. "Alex, don't give up just because you got rejected. I just woke up and saw your social media, nearly gave me a heart attack." He pulled back, his face etched with concern. I thought you were so heartbroken you were going to wallow in self-pity. I looked at Mark's tear-streaked face, a small twitch forming at the corner of my mouth. I gently pushed him away and walked to the kitchen to pour myself a glass of water. I just deleted a few posts. Do you really need to be so dramatic? I calmly took a sip. Mark let out a dramatic sigh. You deleted everything. Your entire stalker persona is gone. What are we going to do? I nearly choked on my water, staring at him in disbelief. Why the hell would I want to maintain a stalker persona? Isn't it a good thing to get rid of that rotten image? Mark sighed again, handing me his phone. On the screen was the comment section of my early morning post. Did he just wake up? Alex isn't stalking Sienna Thorne anymore? What in the world happened? Did he get rejected so many times he finally snapped? Could this mean the old Alex, the talented one, is coming back? I'm going to cry. I scrolled through the comments, a mix of opinions. Some called me a sore loser, others thought I'd finally seen the light, and some accused me of chasing clout. The news of me deleting my posts overnight had shot straight to the top of the trending topics. Suddenly, a notification popped up on Mark's phone. Sienna Thorne had just posted. I tapped on it. Sienna had posted a photo she clearly thought was alluringly seductive, captioned, "Dinner plans made with someone special for another day." Winking face, she must have seen I deleted my posts and was trying to dangle a sweet apple in front of me. I felt a wave of genuine nausea watching her manipulative dance, subtly rejecting me while simultaneously feeding me false hope. Soon, her comment section was swarming with eager fans. So pretty, goddess. Who are you eating with? Please tell me it's not Zenith King. OMG, I thought the same thing. I'm dying. Could it be Alex? Absolutely not. What are you thinking? Look at Alex's mental state this morning. He's clearly been rejected by the goddess. I rolled my eyes and handed Mark back his phone. Looking at Sienna's behavior, she probably didn't even realize I'd blocked her. How could someone so oblivious and irritating be the female lead? I couldn't stand it. So, you really don't like Sienna Thorne anymore? Mark asked tentatively. No, my brain's finally cleared up, I replied. I think it's fine to just take on a few random projects in the industry and just exist. After all, I was a wealthy young master in my own right. Back when I was chasing Sienna, I'd showered her with designer bags worth tens of thousands, all kinds of luxury goods. Sienna always accepted them, then strung me along with a few hopeful words. All those years, the money my family spent on her felt like it had been thrown to the dogs. Mark, seeing that I seemed genuinely fine, finally relaxed. He was about to say something when his phone suddenly vibrated. After a quick call, Mark's eyes lit up and he practically pounced on me. There's a reality show. They saw you deleted your posts overnight and want to capitalize on the buzz. They're even willing to pay extra to have you. I thought for a moment. Participating in a reality show was a good idea. It would make my real fans happy and completely shed my stalker label. Okay, let's do it. I quickly agreed, afraid the production team would change their minds if I hesitated even a second. This show was about several people living together for a few days on a remote island. The production team wouldn't pick us up. We had to get ourselves to the island. This segment was actually in the original novel. The show was fully live-streamed, and it was a crucial point for the male and female leads to develop feelings for each other. That meant not only me but Zenith King and Sienna Thorne would also be there. Just like in every other sweet romance novel, the female lead would encounter danger during an outdoor task. The male lead would go find her, and then they'd spend a night together in a cave. My role in the story was to constantly cause trouble for Zenith King on the show, which would, of course, lead to widespread dissatisfaction from netizens. After the live broadcast, I'd be roasted on the hot search. He's so annoying. The quiet sea breeze suddenly brought back the memory of my ultimate fate, stabbed to death by Zenith King's subordinates. Wait a minute. What if I stayed away from Sienna Thorne and instead befriended Zenith King, became good brothers with him? Wouldn't that help me avoid such a tragic end? Decided, I immediately set my goal for the show, get close to Zenith King. I arrived at the small island's pier on my family's private yacht. By the time I disembarked, the esteemed actor Zenith King, veteran industry senior Charles Han, and popular singer Ivy Jiang were already present. With me, only Sienna Thorne was missing. As my yacht docked, all the cameras swiveled to focus on me. The moment I stepped off, sunglasses perched coolly on my face, the live stream comments exploded. "Oh my god, isn't that Alex? This show has guts. Sienna Thorne isn't coming too, is she? No way. Is Alex seriously going to stalk our goddess on this show too? Disgusting. Didn't he delete all his posts? Maybe there'll be an unexpected surprise." Upon arrival, my phone was immediately confiscated, so I was blissfully unaware of the comment storm raging on screen. I turned to the camera, gave a brief self-introduction, greeted the other guests, and then, pointedly, walked to stand beside Zenith King. Everyone on the internet knew about my supposed obsessive stalking of Sienna Thorne. Logically, I should have stood in an empty spot, awaiting Sienna's arrival. Instead, I was standing right next to Zenith King. Even Zenith looked at me with a hint of confusion, his eyes seemingly asking why I was beside him. "Hello, Mr. King," I said, offering him a bright smile despite his usually stoic demeanor. "Hello," Zenith replied, perhaps feeling it was rude to stare. He averted his gaze. "What's going on? Is this guy trying to leech off our king's fame now? My Alex can stand wherever he wants. It's his freedom." A few loyal fans, who had stuck with me despite my previous stalker image, piped up in the comment section. I was genuinely touched. Tears welled up in my eyes. "My dearest fans, you're about to be blessed." Zenith and I didn't exchange many words, standing there like statues, waiting for Sienna Thorne. Nearly 20 minutes passed, and Sienna still hadn't arrived. Even the director looked a bit displeased. I silently rolled my eyes. Late for filming, how stuck up can you get? Another moment passed, and then Sienna Thorne appeared, teetering on high heels and clad in a pristine white chiffon dress, looking as if she'd just walked off a red carpet. I was speechless. "Sister, the gathering point is on the beach, and the director specifically told us to wear comfortable clothes and sneakers." It was clear everyone else present shared my sentiment, but Sienna's status was high enough that no one dared to say anything. According to my original character setting, I should have rushed over to help Sienna. But I wasn't that Alex anymore. The other guests and I watched coldly as Sienna stumbled towards us. After forcing a strained smile and greetings, she walked straight up to me, her eyes filled with reproach, as if accusing me of not coming to her aid. Her next words were particularly grating. "Alex, could you give me this spot? I want to stand here." Her pitiable voice, so fragile, made it sound like I had stolen her rightful place. "Why should I?" I retorted coldly, looking her straight in the eye. "I don't recall the director assigning standing spots." Her expression froze for a split second. She clearly hadn't expected me to refuse her request. "Fine, Alex, I can't believe you're like this." She whispered the accusation before dejectedly walking to stand beside Ivy Jiang. "Trying to morally blackmail me? Not falling for it, lady." The comment section immediately exploded. "OMG, what's happening? What's wrong with Alex? Why is he talking to Goddess Sienna like that? Has Alex really given up stalking her?" I don't know why, but seeing him coldly retort to Sienna Thorne actually gives him a bit of a cool vibe. +1. Seeing the live stream's viewership surge, the director inwardly congratulated himself on inviting the right people. "Alright, now that everyone is here, I'll go over the rules of our show." The director's voice pulled us back to attention. "For the next month, we'll all be living together in the villa on this island. To get there, we first need to trek through the forest in front of us. Everyone can rest assured, all dangerous animals have been relocated beforehand, so your safety is guaranteed." The director added, "Future tasks will be announced once we reach the villa." Understanding our immediate task, we turned to prepare for the forest trek. "Wait a minute." Sienna's panicked voice rang out from behind us. "Then what am I supposed to do?" Everyone's gaze fell upon her high heels and floor-length chiffon dress. Speechless, I turned and entered the dense foliage, my cameraman following closely. Zenith King didn't pay much attention, simply stepping in after me. The other two, seeing Zenith and me enter, also averted their gazes and hurried after us, leaving Sienna Thorne to stomp her foot angrily in place. The director looked at Sienna with a hint of annoyance. "I told you beforehand to wear comfortable clothes. Dressed like that, People who don't know might think you're attending a gala. Figure it out yourself. I have to be fair, I can't just favor you. With that, the director hopped into a small buggy laden with camera equipment and sped off. Is he targeting Goddess Sienna? That's too much. Has Sienna Thorne bewitched you all? She clearly made a fool of herself and now she's blaming others. Why didn't Alex help her a little? Isn't he supposed to be a stalker? At this point, most of the comments were from Sienna's fanatical followers, furiously condemning the director. Sienna, realizing no one was paying attention to her, had no choice but to dejectedly take off her shoes, her face swollen with anger, and hobble into the forest. The four of us walked ahead, chatting casually, helping each other over taller branches. Through these small interactions, our relationships began to warm up. I didn't expect Alex to be so different from the rumors, Ivy Jiang said with a laugh. I've completely come to my senses now. I just want to focus on my career, I replied honestly. Focus on your career? Zenith King looked at me intently. No, I just want to survive. Seeing his gaze, I simply smiled back. Perhaps I was a little too relaxed, completely neglecting the uneven branches and roots underfoot. I stumbled, on the verge of falling. I squeezed my eyes shut, bracing myself for impact, but the next second, I found myself in an embrace that smelled of cedarwood. Are you all right? Zenith's deep voice resonated from above. I looked up, meeting his profound gaze, and involuntarily swallowed. Oh my God, he's the male lead for a reason. He's truly handsome. Thank you, I quickly said, standing up and bowing my head to hide my slightly flushed face. Just as I was about to walk forward, a sharp pain in my ankle froze me in place. Zenith noticed my discomfort and knelt down, seemingly intending to carry me. I frantically waved my hands, refusing. Not only was there still a long way to the villa, but if Zenith carried me now, I would be drowned in the angry spit of his female fans by tomorrow. Zenith looked at my slightly swollen ankle and my somewhat awkward expression, probably guessing my concerns. He didn't force me but instead offered his hand. I'll help you walk slowly. I looked at his handsome face and didn't refuse again. I didn't expect the famously aloof Zenith King to be so warm-hearted, Charles Han, who had just navigated a branch teased. Zenith let out a soft chuckle, maintaining his cool demeanor but conveying a sense of respect for Charles. You're joking, senior. It seems people's external impression of me is still quite rigid. At this point, the comment section had gone wild. Ah, Zenith King smiled. My life is complete. Wow, he even helped Alex. He's so nice. Hey, aren't you guys worried about Goddess Sienna's life or death? Amidst the cheerful atmosphere, we finally reached the villa. Thanks to Zenith's support, my ankle felt much better. As for Sienna Thorne, she arrived an hour after us, her dress torn by branches, her face smudged and tear-streaked. Sienna glared at me, then put on a wronged expression for Zenith. But neither of us paid her any mind, so she awkwardly stood beside Ivy Jiang. The director pulled out a lottery box from behind. Next, we'll be assigning rooms. There are a total of 5 balls inside. Those who draw the same number will share a room, and the person with a unique number will have a single room and also be the manager for this trip. In the original plot, Charles Han and I shared a room, Zenith King naturally shared with Sienna Thorne, and Ivy Jiang became the manager. We each stepped forward and drew a ball. I didn't need to think. I was sure I'd be sharing a room with Charles Han. At the director's signal, we turned the numbered side of our balls towards the camera. The other 4 were all eagerly checking who they'd be sharing with, while I calmly stood still, not looking anywhere in particular. Excellent. Let's congratulate Senior Charles Han on becoming the manager. From now on, the daily lives of the 5 of you will be managed by Senior Charles Han. Huh? What? I was stunned. No, that's not right. Logically, it should have been Ivy Jiang. Has the plot changed already? I abruptly looked up at the numbered balls in the other 4's hands. Ivy Jiang and Sienna Thorne, the 2 girls, were sharing a room, while I was sharing a room with Zenith King. I quickly regained my composure. It didn't really matter who I shared a room with, as long as it wasn't Sienna Thorne, then all was well. After the room assignments were announced, it was already dark, and today's filming came to an end. We began to drag our luggage to our rooms to rest. Just as I was about to leave, I felt someone tug at the hem of my shirt. Turning around, I met Sienna Thorne's tear-filled eyes, and a wave of nausea washed over me. "Alex, you didn't help me today, fine, but can you at least let me share a room with Zenith King?" Sienna pleaded, her voice thick with fake vulnerability. Zenith, who was halfway up the stairs, stopped when he noticed I wasn't following, turning to look back at me. "Hey," I scoffed, pulling my shirt free from her grasp. "Firstly, I have no obligation to help you whatsoever. Secondly, these room assignments are by drawing lots, fair and transparent. What's the point if you just say you want to swap?" "Alex, you're being too mean today." "I just wanted to switch with you a little," she whined. In the past, if Sienna had looked at me with that expression, I would have given her anything she wanted. But now, all I felt was the pungent scent of manipulative green tea. I genuinely couldn't understand how such an unlikable character could be the female lead. I scratched my head in irritation. She was truly annoying. "No," I stated firmly. I shrugged off her hand, which was still clutching my shirt, and pulled my luggage to head upstairs. "Alex, I've noticed you've changed. You weren't like this before." Sienna yelled up at me as I ascended the stairs. "Sienna, don't make me scold you." I snapped back, truly exasperated. "You're upset because you lost your little stalker? Have some shame. Does she think I'm Hello Kitty? I'm not to be messed with." Sienna stood frozen in shock. After a moment, she put on a wronged expression and looked towards Zenith King, who was observing the scene. "Mr. King, look how he's bullying me." Zenith looked at Sienna, who was crying like a storm, and subtly frowned. Oh no, I forgot Zenith King was waiting for me on the stairs. I wasn't sure about Zenith's feelings for Sienna right now, only that they had worked together on a drama before, and fans had started shipping them. This is bad, this is bad. If they're developing feelings for each other now, my goal of befriending him might backfire and put me in danger. I'm doomed. "Oh, what's it got to do with me?" "Alex, let's go to our room." Zenith's cool voice cut through my panicked thoughts. I barely had time to be surprised. Thank goodness, it seems Zenith King currently has no feelings for Sienna Thorne. We arrived at our room, which contained 2 twin beds. I felt a little awkward, but then thought, what's the big deal? We're both guys. Zenith King, as if reading my mind, sat on one of the beds and patted the spot next to him. "What's wrong? 2 guys and you're shy? Could it be you have some impure thoughts about me?" Zenith's smile was intoxicating, almost seductive. Huh? Zenith King's character setting wasn't supposed to be a cold, aloof actor who kept everyone at arm's length, only showing tenderness to the female lead. And in private, shouldn't he be a gentle, refined person? What was with that suggestive comment just now? But I had to admit, he looked incredibly handsome even when he said such flirtatious things. I tried to appear calm as I sat beside him, my flushed ears giving me away. "Mr. King, I hope you'll take care of me this coming month." "Alex, don't you remember me?" he asked. "What? Zenith and I knew each other before?" The novel didn't mention this part. Seeing my bewildered expression, Zenith shook his head. "Sorry, just pretend you didn't hear that." With that, Zenith stood up and went to the bathroom to shower. I lay on the bed, mulling over his words. In the novel, Zenith King was the eldest son of the wealthy King family, who had gotten lost as a child and was brought to an orphanage by a kind stranger. Sienna Thorne had been an orphan since childhood, and so the two became good friends at the orphanage. Later, the King family found Zenith when he was 14. Zenith then naturally drifted apart from Sienna. When Zenith returned to find Sienna, she had already been adopted. They secretly lost touch until Zenith entered the entertainment industry and reunited with Sienna on a film set. No, this story has absolutely nothing to do with me. What was I doing the year Zenith King was found? I was attending various business gatherings with my father. When I was 15, I caught the eye of an entertainment company CEO who relentlessly pursued me to try acting. At that rebellious age, I didn't like mingling in the business world with my father, so I half-heartedly agreed. So, logically speaking, I should have only met Zenith King after entering the entertainment industry. I racked my brain, but I couldn't recall any prior connection with Zenith King. Combined with the day's overwhelming activities, the sound of the rushing water from Zenith's shower lulled me into a doze. In my hazy state, the sound of the water stopped. I felt a slightly cool hand gently touch my cheek, then caress my head. The rest of the night was dreamless. The next morning, manager Charles Hahn tiptoed into our room with his cameraman for the Way Up mission. Charles stealthily plugged a speaker into the outlet, and the blaring, cheerful melody of Good Fortune Coming immediately filled the room. At the same time, he flicked on all the lights. The moment the room was illuminated, Charles and the entire live stream audience froze. I had a terrible habit of needing to hug something to sleep well. My body pillow had been confiscated upon arrival at the island, so last night, I'd simply hugged the closest available thing. Oh my god, why is Alex practically glued to Zenith King? Damn it, I wish I could transmigrate into Alex's body. Little Alex looks so adorable just waking up. Wah, I want to kiss him. To the commenter above, do you still want to kiss him when you remember he's goddess Sienna's stalker? I groggily opened my eyes, utterly bewildered by the commotion. I turned my head to see Zenith King, whom I was tightly embracing, and instantly shot up from the bed like a spring. I then looked at Charles Hahn and the cameraman, both frozen in place. The silence in the room was deafening. After I detached myself from him, Zenith King also woke up. The top 2 buttons of his dark blue pajama shirt were undone, revealing his delicate collarbone and a glimpse of his underlying chest muscles, sending the comment section into a frenzy. Everyone transformed into a chorus of "Ah, I'm dead." After we quickly tidied ourselves, the group headed to the girls' room. To protect their privacy, the wake-up call consisted of frantic knocking and the same Good Fortune Coming song. After a moment, Sienna Thorne's coquettish voice echoed from inside, "Coming." The door opened and Sienna emerged in a silk nightgown, her face demurely turned towards the camera. "Oh, I just woke up and I haven't even put on makeup yet. So embarrassing." I didn't know if the live stream viewers noticed, but in our eyes, she had clearly been up and getting ready for a long time, her face meticulously made up and glowing. In contrast, Ivy Jiang, behind her, looked much more genuine. She wore bear-patterned pajamas, stretched, and the dark circles under her eyes were starkly visible. "I'm so sleepy. That Miss Thorne woke up at 5 a.m. She literally woke me up too." I couldn't help but hide to the side, chuckling. Sienna shot Ivy Jiang an angry glance, but Ivy paid her no mind, merely rolling her eyes at her before heading to the bathroom. After breakfast, the director began announcing today's tasks. First, he handed Charles Hahn, our manager, a list of food and materials to find for the day. This show was essentially a relaxed reality show about ordinary life. The tasks revolved around entering the forest to search for food or materials hidden by the crew, then bringing them back to the villa. Next, we had to use the found materials to cook the dishes on the task list. Completing this would mark the day's task as done, and each successful completion earned a stamp on the list. The show spanned a month, requiring 30 stamps in total. If we completed every daily task on the last day, the show would treat us to a lavish seafood feast to conclude the program. The first few days were simply about finding ingredients, and things went quite smoothly. We split into pairs to search the forest. The island's forest was incredibly dense. Although the crew had relocated dangerous animals beforehand, many areas remained untouched. The crew provided each group with a walkie-talkie in case of unforeseen incidents. In the evenings, everyone cooked together, chatted, and enjoyed the sea breeze. Life was truly comfortable. No, that's not right. Except for one person who genuinely annoyed me. During dinner, Sienna Thorne brought her grilled meat skewer to Zenith King. "Mr. King, I grilled this. Please try it." Zenith gave her a cold glance, then picked up a skewer of meat I had just finished grilling and put it into his mouth. "No need. I'll just eat Alex's grilled food." I ignored Sienna's stunned expression. Zenith eating my skewer proved he didn't dislike me. This was certainly good news. "Hee, then I'll grill more for you." Seeing our natural interaction, Sienna gritted her teeth in frustration. She then brought the skewer to my face. "Alex, Zenith didn't eat it, you eat it." I grilled it myself. I didn't even spare her a glance. He doesn't eat dirty food either. You should eat it all yourself. Zenith, hearing my words, actually secretly chuckled, and I caught him. As soon as I said that, Sienna's instant tear-dropping skill activated. She held the skewer, angrily retreating to a corner, burying her face and sobbing. This scene was captured perfectly by the cameras. Is Alex crazy? Did he go berserk because his stalking failed? My goddess Sienna looks so vulnerable crying, so pitiful. Is everyone ignoring the subtle interaction between Alex and Zenith King? What should I do? It's a little cute. Are you delusional? Sienna Thorne is Zenith King's official partner. The comment section erupted into a chaotic argument, with each side holding their ground. In the following days, everyone's relationships improved further. The tasks were generally completed smoothly, except for Sienna Thorne, who was constantly a hindrance, almost causing us to miss a stamp one time. It was her fault for not seriously completing the task, yet she showed no shame, constantly claiming to be weak, even recounting at dinner how she'd suffered from malnutrition as a child and thus had a weak constitution. We paid little attention to her sob story, but her fanatical followers in the live stream room were completely enamored. Although there were some unpleasant moments, the days passed relatively peacefully. After half a month of living together, I discovered something strange. Zenith King paid no attention to the female lead. Instead, he was particularly attentive to me. For example, when it was our turn to search for ingredients in the forest, he would thoughtfully walk ahead of me, clearing branches from the path, citing the graceful reason that he was afraid I'd sprain my ankle again like when I first arrived. Also, during the task of making seasonings on the beach, he constantly observed my every move. I pretended not to notice, but I was aware of it all. His gaze was too obvious to hide. Even when Sienna Thorne threw a fit in front of me, and I retorted with a few sarcastic remarks, Zenith King didn't get angry. Instead, he happily watched me. Most importantly, every time I unconsciously glanced at Zenith King during a task, he would be staring at me with a fiery intensity. In an instant, my face flushed and my heart pounded. This isn't good. This is very not good. My heart racing wildly from being looked at by another man was extremely not good. Moreover, Zenith King was straight, wasn't he? At the end of the novel, he ended up with Sienna Thorne. But then again, the room assignments had changed earlier. Could subsequent plot developments also change? I sat on the bed, listening to the sound of water running in the bathroom, my heart unable to settle. I could only stare intently at the bathroom door, lost in thought. A moment later, Zenith King emerged from the bathroom, his hair still dripping despite being towel-dried. Water droplets trailed down his shoulders, tracing paths over his chest muscles, and his loosely tied bathrobe hinted at perfectly sculpted abs. Help! I looked at him, the sound of my pounding heart consuming my entire brain. Zenith King looked at my flushed face, chuckled softly, and leaned his thin lips close to my ear, asking, "Alex, am I handsome?" I looked at his perfect features at such close range, my mind spinning. Handsome, very handsome. The atmosphere completely disoriented me. I didn't even know what I was saying anymore. What do you like? Zenith's face drew even closer, his warm breath fanning my ear. I like you. Wait a minute. I suddenly sobered up, my face burning as I recoiled from Zenith's presence. I'm going to sleep now. Good night. With that, I burrowed under the covers. Zenith King looked at my desperate escape, didn't stop me, but simply lay down beside me, closing his eyes as if nothing had happened. I curled up, damn it, I almost couldn't hold back. If Zenith King finds out about this, what will I do? The truth was, this usually cold and quiet actor, Zenith King, had been teasing me like this in the room for the past half-month, which was why every time I saw him, my face flushed and my heart pounded. I didn't know how long I'd been under the covers, but just as I was drifting off to sleep, a hand gently pulled my head out from under the blanket. Even though I was almost asleep, this action instantly sobered me up. I squeezed my eyes shut, not daring to open them, doing my best to pretend to be fast asleep. Perhaps my acting was too convincing, for Zenith King didn't seem to realize I was awake. He propped his head with one hand and lay on his side, looking at me. Even with my eyes closed, I could feel his burning gaze. He watched me for a moment, then placed a soft, gentle kiss on my lips. Oh my God, what just happened? Zenith King, he just kissed me. Alex, when will you remember me? I like you very much, he said, and his burning gaze disappeared. I was completely stunned. The plot had really changed. Zenith King no longer liked Sienna Thorne. The person he liked had become me. And from his words, it seemed we had known each other for a long time, but I had forgotten him, which essentially made me a heartbreaker. When exactly did we get to know each other? I thought about it all night, but couldn't figure it out. The next morning, Charles Hahn entered the room to find me with bloodshot eyes, sitting on the edge of the bed. And today was the day Zenith and I were scheduled to go into the forest to find ingredients. I hadn't slept all night and my mental state was abysmal. While walking through the forest with Zenith King, I stumbled countless times. Left with no choice, Zenith took my hand. Initially, I tried to pull away, but his grip was too strong, so I gave up. The cameraman followed behind, recording. Our small interactions were broadcast to the entire nation. Aren't they a couple? Why didn't I feel any chemistry between Sienna Thorne and Zenith King in the past half-month? But Zenith's gaze at Alex always feels different. Exactly. And Alex doesn't even spare Sienna Thorne a glance anymore. After half a month of filming, aside from Sienna Thorne's die-hard fans who continued to curse me, many viewers had completely forgotten my stalker image. Some had even begun to ship Zenith and me. Unbeknownst to us, we had walked deep into the forest. I spotted the ingredients hanging from a tree, but they seemed a little high, so I needed to find a way to get them down. I looked around and suddenly noticed a very long branch in the thick grass to the right. Without a word, I dragged Zenith over there. The grass was soft and thick, and I stepped on it without a second thought. As a result, there was a hidden hole underneath, and I immediately fell through. Because Zenith was holding my hand, he was also pulled down by inertia. The cameraman nearby was stunned, immediately rushing over to check on our safety. Thankfully, the hole wasn't very deep, but because the incident happened so suddenly, I had no time to brace myself. My head hit a rough branch at the bottom of the hole, and blood immediately began to flow. Zenith King saw my distorted, pained expression and panicked. Quick, get a stretcher. The cameraman was also startled and hurriedly ran to the side to contact the director. Alex, you said you wanted to marry me when you were little. You can't die. Zenith's words sent shivers down my spine, and suddenly, fragmented memories flooded into my mind. The first time I met Zenith King was at the end of the year. He was found by the King family after leaving the orphanage. That party was Zenith's first social event since being reunited with his family. I had always been mischievous as a child and had no interest in such gatherings. Zenith, having lived in an orphanage since he could remember, was completely unaccustomed to such occasions. Amidst the crowd, I spotted Zenith looking quite uncomfortable. I ran over, took his hand, and asked, "Bored, aren't you? I'll take you to play." Although Zenith was surprised, he didn't refuse, allowing me to lead him by the hand to the garden. That year, Zenith was 14, and I was only 11. We sat in the garden, enjoying the night breeze. I told Zenith innocent stories, sometimes even leading him into a room to play house. Zenith never said much, simply acting like a gentle older brother, playing along with me. For years passed like that. I gradually fell for Zenith, the person who had always been by my side. At another party, in the very garden where I had first dragged Zenith, I confessed my feelings to him. "Zenith, I like you. No matter what, we must get married in the future." My face was flushed as I made my confession sound incredibly bold. Perhaps I was the first person to do something like that. Zenith gently lifted my face. Under the moonlight, he smiled tenderly. "In the future, I only want Alex to marry me." We were together. We held hands and returned to the party. As soon as we arrived, my father pulled me away to meet an entertainment company CEO. I helplessly looked back at Zenith, who just smiled and waved at me. The CEO offered me an acting role. On one hand, I found attending parties with my father every day incredibly boring. On the other, I thought entering the entertainment industry might give me more time to be with Zenith. So I agreed. The strange thing was, after I entered the entertainment industry, my memories of Zenith seemed to vanish. I became like a pre-programmed robot, beginning to stalk Sienna Thorne. Zenith also never came looking for me again. And not long after, Zenith also entered the entertainment industry. We met for the first time on a film set. These fragments of memories pieced together, forming all the recollections of Zenith and me. When I opened my eyes again, I found myself lying in bed in the villa, my head wrapped in a thick bandage. The area around the bed was packed with people. The first thing that met my eyes was Zenith King's deep gaze. He embraced me tightly, burying his head in the crook of my neck. "Alex, it's good that you're okay. It's good that you're okay." I hugged Zenith back, a bittersweet feeling welling up inside me. I had just agreed to be with him, then turned around, entered the entertainment industry, and started stalking Sienna Thorne. How much sorrow had he endured all those years? The director and staff exchanged glances, tacitly understanding. They turned off the recording cameras and quietly ushered everyone out. Everyone was very understanding, except for Sienna Thorne, who still wanted to linger. Ivy Jiang, ignoring Sienna's struggles, covered her mouth and dragged her away. Looking at the blacked-out live stream screen, the fans in the room were bewildered. What's happening? A live stream glitch. Doesn't seem right. It feels like they're protecting their privacy. Looking at Zenith King and Alex's final expressions, their relationship is definitely not normal. I only noticed that everyone else had discreetly left, leaving only Sienna Thorne, who still didn't understand the hint, utterly speechless. In the room, Zenith gently wiped away my tears, looking at me with affection. "Zenith, I remember everything now." He caressed my slightly messy hair. "It's good that you remember." Zenith gave me a tired smile. I buried myself in Zenith's arms. I didn't know how to explain to him about my memory loss and the whole Sienna Thorne stalking incident. Zenith, as if sensing my emotions, patted me. "I know everything, Alex. It's good that you're back." I looked up from his embrace in surprise. "You know everything?" Zenith didn't say anything, just looked at me. I didn't ask further. After all, the outcome was good now, so why dwell on other things? And so, Zenith and I were together. In the following days, although we didn't explicitly say anything, everyone on the crew understood. Only Sienna Thorne remained oblivious. With that level of intelligence and observation skills, I wondered how she had ever become the female lead. It was unbearable. In the blink of an eye, the filming of the show came to an end. We had successfully collected all 30 stamps, earning us the lavish seafood feast we had all been dreaming of. Our group sat together on the beach, reminiscing about the fun stories from the past month and chatting about our lives to come. I, being naturally vivacious, could easily jump into any conversation, while Zenith sat beside me, meticulously peeling crabs and picking out the meat, placing it in a bowl for me. Do you see that? Zenith King is peeling crabs for Alex. Isn't this the love story of the cold actor and the arrogant young master? Wait, does the internet have no memory? Have you all really forgotten about him stalking Sienna Thorne? To the commenter above, stop barking. Look at how Sienna Thorne behaved on this show, constantly being a hindrance, acting like a delicate princess. What's with that? Exactly. Look, Alex doesn't even spare her a glance anymore, so stop yapping. The seafood feast drew to a close. The director signaled to us, wanting us to start talking about our relationship statuses, hoping to snag another surge in viewership before the end of the show. Charles Hahn and his wife had been married for many years. Their relationship was incredibly strong. He often posted photos of his travels with his wife on social media and could truly be called a model husband in the entertainment industry. Ivy Jiang stated that she only wanted to focus on her career and had no intentions of dating or getting married yet. The camera then turned to Sienna Thorne. She immediately launched into her usual sob story, adding dramatic flair as she recounted her and Zenith's childhood in the orphanage. Her words subtly implied a deep, intimate relationship with Zenith. This revelation was quite explosive, indeed pushing the live stream viewership to its peak. "If I'm not married by 30, I'll marry Alex." I was in the middle of eating a crab leg when my name was suddenly called out, startling me so much that I choked. Zenith quickly rubbed my back, his eyes glaring at Sienna Thorne with a look that could curdle milk. Hey, are you crazy? I'd rather go marry someone else than marry you. I looked at Sienna Thorne with utter disdain. I had thought that seeing Zenith and I being so intimate, and with most of the crew practically aware of our relationship, she would have given up by now. But what happened? This woman was still so confident, thinking I would continue to stalk her. Oh my God, his words are so harsh. Isn't that too much? How can Goddess Sienna endure such injustice? Since he said that, I wish him a lifetime of never finding a wife. Goddess Sienna, marry me. I love you. This last comment ignited Sienna Thorne's entire fan base. Alex will only marry me in the future. He won't marry anyone else. Zenith's cold voice resonated through the silence, and the entire comment section of the live stream went dead. A few seconds later, the live stream interface crashed due to the sheer volume of comments. It's true. I knew it. They're real. Help. They've gone public. They've gone public. Sienna Thorne looks like such a clown right now. Zenith embraced me, still eating crab meat, and I couldn't help but glance at him in disbelief. Oh my God, how brave. No, I can't be outdone. Did you hear that? I yelled at Sienna. My husband won't let me marry anyone else. You should find someone else. This time, it was Sienna Thorne's turn to be stunned. She clearly hadn't expected us to actually be together, or perhaps she knew but had simply been in denial. The reality show ended amidst the laughter and applause of everyone, except Sienna Thorne. After the show concluded, Zenith King, who hadn't posted anything on social media for ages, uploaded a photo of us together, captioned, "My beloved." I also posted a similar photo from the same series with an identical caption. Immediately, social media was paralyzed. I lay in Zenith's arms, and we smiled at each other. The aftermath of Zenith's public declaration was nothing short of a media frenzy. The internet, which had briefly collapsed under the weight of fan hysteria, roared back to life with a singular obsession: the shocking romance between Zenith King and Alex. Every entertainment news outlet, every gossip column, every fan forum was ablaze. Our names, once linked in a narrative of unrequited love and a supposed stalker, were now intertwined in a whirlwind of genuine, explosive affection. Mark, my manager, looked like he'd aged 10 years overnight, but it was a joyous aging. His phone hadn't stopped ringing for days, fielding calls from every major network and production company. Alex, you're a sensation. A complete phenomenon. Every show wants you, every brand wants you. And Zenith, well, he's always been big, but this has taken him to another level. The cold actor falling for the once stalker now beloved young master. It's a story for the ages. I found myself basking in an unfamiliar glow of legitimate fame, not the notoriety of being Sienna Thorne's persistent admirer. My previous attempts at acting, half-hearted and overshadowed by the plot-driven obsession, were now viewed through a new lens. People were rewatching my old interviews, analyzing my expressions when I was around Zenith, and digging up childhood photos, desperately searching for clues of our hidden history. Sienna Thorne, on the other hand, had become the subject of ridicule. The comments that had once championed her were now mercilessly mocking her obliviousness. Her tearful "Alex, you've changed" became a trending meme. Her attempts to maintain her goddess image, posting vague, self-pitying updates, only made things worse. Her fan base, while still loyal, was visibly fractured, many having defected to the burgeoning Zenith-Alex ship, or simply losing interest in her now transparent machinations. One particularly viral post featured a side-by-side comparison: Sienna's dramatic plea to switch rooms, contrasted with my blunt refusal, her self-pitying tears during dinner, juxtaposed with Zenith discreetly feeding me grilled skewers. The caption read, "The true main characters were right under our noses the whole time." Zenith and I, however, largely ignored the chaos. We retreated to a quiet space, away from the flashing cameras and the incessant buzz of the internet, cherishing our newfound, openly acknowledged relationship. He continued to be the attentive, caring partner I had remembered from my forgotten childhood, and I, now free from the puppet strings of a novel, reveled in the genuine connection we shared. One afternoon, Zenith found me scrolling through old articles about myself. My old, cringeworthy social media posts, now deleted from my own page, lived on in screenshots and news archives. I sighed, feeling a pang of embarrassment. It's still so hard to believe I acted like that. Zenith sat beside me, gently taking the phone from my hand. It wasn't you, not truly. You were under an influence. His words were soft, understanding. You remember now, that's what matters. But how did you know? I asked, looking into his deep, knowing eyes. You said you knew everything. How did you know I had forgotten you, or about Sienna, or about the plot? Zenith smiled, a secret, tender smile. Some things, Alex, you just feel. And some things you fight for, even when the person you're fighting for doesn't remember why. He paused, his gaze intensifying. I never forgot you, Alex. Not once. And I promised myself I'd get you back, no matter what it took. So, all those years, when I was chasing Sienna, you just watched? The thought made my heart ache. It was painful, he admitted, his voice a low rumble. Extremely painful. It felt like watching a part of myself, a part of us, being erased. But there were flashes, moments where you'd look at me, or say something, and I'd see a flicker of the old Alex, the real Alex. It gave me hope. He took my hand, intertwining our fingers. And I had a feeling, a strong one, that something wasn't right. That you weren't truly in control. I just needed the right moment, the right trigger, to help you remember. The pain from my head injury, the sudden flood of memories, the breaking of the novel's programming, it all made sense now. Zenith had been quietly observing, waiting, protecting me from a distance even when I was lost to him. I'm so sorry, Zenith, I whispered, tears welling up in my eyes. I put you through so much. He pulled me closer, resting his chin on my head. No apologies, Alex. We're together now. That's all that matters. And you know what else matters? I looked up, curious. What? He leaned in, his lips brushing my ear. That promise you made, about marrying me. He chuckled softly. Still holds, right? My face flushed, but this time, it was from genuine happiness and a deep, comforting sense of belonging. Absolutely, I whispered back, leaning into his embrace. Absolutely. Life after the reality show, now lived openly with Zenith King, was a world away from the scripted melodrama I had almost been trapped in. The media scrutiny remained, but it was now a joyful curiosity, eager for every snippet of our genuine interactions. Our social media posts, once a source of public ridicule for me, became a delightful chronicle of our love story, celebrated by millions. Zenith, who had been notoriously private, now shared glimpses of our daily lives, a candid photo of us cooking together, a video of him teasing me on a quiet afternoon, a sweet message exchanged. It cemented our relationship in the public eye, leaving no room for doubt or the machinations of a certain former female lead. Sienna Thorne's attempts to reclaim the spotlight grew increasingly desperate. She tried to imply a secret continuation of her relationship with Zenith, but his unwavering devotion to me, constantly showcased in interviews and our online presence, swiftly shut down every rumor. Her last significant appearance was an emotional interview where she claimed she was betrayed by both Zenith and me, but it fell flat. The public had seen her true colors on the live stream, her self-absorption, her manipulative tactics, and her sheer lack of self-awareness. Her career, once promising, began a slow decline, fading into the background noise of the entertainment world. Meanwhile, my own career flourished in ways I never imagined. Freed from the pressure of playing a pre-written character, I discovered a genuine passion for acting. Directors saw a newfound depth and authenticity in my performances, no longer overshadowed by a character role I was forced to inhabit. I took on diverse projects, enjoying the creative process and the challenge of bringing new characters to life. And with Zenith by my side, offering quiet encouragement and insightful advice, I felt more grounded and confident than ever before. Our family and friends were overjoyed. My father, who had been confused and worried by my previous obsession, now saw a truly happy and healthy son. Zenith's family, who had always been a close-knit unit, welcomed me with open arms, already knowing of our childhood connection that I had forgotten. Charles Hahn, our manager, became a sort of proud papa, constantly reminding us of how far we'd come. Ivy Jiang became a dear friend, often joining us for casual dinners, bringing laughter and a refreshing dose of normalcy to our lives. One quiet evening, as Zenith and I sat on the balcony of our shared apartment, overlooking the sparkling city lights, he turned to me. "Remember that first party, when you dragged me to the garden?" I smiled, the memory now perfectly clear. "Of course. You looked so lost. And then you made that bold declaration," he continued, his eyes twinkling, "that we must get married." "And you agreed," I countered, nudging him playfully. "You said you only wanted me to marry you." He pulled me closer, his arm wrapping around my waist. "That promise wasn't just words, Alex. It's a promise I intend to keep. No plot twists, no forgotten memories, just you and me." I rested my head on his shoulder, feeling a profound sense of peace and belonging. The universe had tried to write a different story for me, one of unrequited love and a tragic end. But destiny and Zenith's unwavering love had rewritten the script. Our story was ours now, filled with genuine affection, mutual respect, and a future brighter than any novel could have ever depicted. I lifted my hand, intertwining my fingers with his, a silent reaffirmation of our shared journey. "I wouldn't have it any other way, Zenith. The shop is incredibly grateful and appreciative to everyone who listened this far. If you're still smiling or leave a like and comment, you deserve a lifetime of happiness from the shop." Hee hee.